Hi guys, it's Amy Catherine, and I wanted to talk to you today about my thoughts regarding the coronavirus and what we all can do as light workers to help the situation. So I know that it's really scary, or it may seem scary right now with all of the news media talking about the spread of the virus and about current events. And I know that we all are, and I can feel that we all are a little nervous about it. And I mean, I was just at Walmart with my husband yesterday and there was no toilet paper. And we looked at several different places and it was like the shelves were empty and random things were empty on the shelves. And when you see that in people's carts, you can get a little scared, and it's really easy to dip into that sort of panic mentality. And what we really need to work with is that is ultimately an illusion, that regardless of this pandemic and how it's going to pan out, that for the most part we'll be okay. That yes, it does spread and it's much better to practice social distancing. I know some of us love that word, that phrase, social distancing, but this is something that for the most part affects people past a certain age group, and that certainly isn't to say that people under 60, it's okay for you to walk around. No, that still affects people. That it's time to go inward, and that instead of really going into that temptation of scarcity mentality and going out and maybe buying things that you may not need, really sort of pull back and be in a state of awareness of the situation. It's really easy to dip into that sort of herd mentality, and trust me, I've been there, and it was really easy to start worrying about, oh no, am I going to get the last of this, or we need to get this, oh no, they're gone. And don't panic. This is something that I feel is going to boil over really quickly. This is a time to really think deeply about what you want and needs, and instead of going out every other day to the grocery store to get something, that minor thing that you forgot, maybe make a list of things and try not to go out unless it's absolutely necessary. The Washington Post came out with a recent article, I'm going to try and link that below the video, on the importance of social distancing. And like a lot of people, at first I didn't really take it seriously, and I didn't think that, I thought, oh, it's just being hyped up by the media. But it is something that's highly contagious, otherwise it wouldn't be a pandemic. But what's really important is that now's not the time to panic. Now's the time to just be a light worker and be in a state of awareness of the situation. So instead of listing, the things that you may only need a little bit of, or something that may not be a big deal to go to the grocery store for, really list the main ticket items and maybe only go to the grocery store once a week. Or if you are in need of something like toilet paper, instead of being afraid, why don't you ask your Facebook friends, see if any of them have extra supplies that you guys might need, and see if you can arrange some sort of a swap, or if they are willing to donate some to you. We are living in a community, in a society where we are all able to communicate really easily. We're a global society. So you have friends, and we have people around us that are willing to help. And when you shift yourself into this place of, you know what, this too shall pass, that this is something that's temporary, and this is something that I predict will blow out and calm down just as quickly as it flared up, much like a magnesium flame. It goes very, very hot, but it goes out really, really quickly. That instead of being ruled by emotions, especially lower vibrating emotions such as fear, that you can become in a place of peace and really start to put things into focus. Take this time off. For those of you who have been taken off of work, been put on leave because of the issue, or for those of you having to stay at home with the kids, let this be a time of really growing together as a family and even as a community. So even though we aren't supposed to really be kind of meeting up with friends, we can still do that online and over the phone. And you know what? If you have that older neighbor, maybe check up on them, give them a call and leave something at their door and see if they need help and help them that way. And instead of, going out to eat, maybe order something from home or cooking something fancy at home, or making something fun, sort of stay-at-home movie night with the kids. This is a time where the universe is asking us to really delve deep into the things that we value. And what I channeled with what's going on with the whole current events is that, after that Saturn-Pluto conjunction, many of us had a lot of heavy karma we were releasing last year and earlier this year. And this is a time to really let that go and be pensive and reflective about it. And the American culture is one that is very work-based and one that is very busy, busy, busy. And, this is a time where we're pretty much being ordered by our culture now to stop for at least 2 weeks. I know a lot of kids are out of school until, April. So this is going to be a time where it's time to sit back, it's time to meditate, it's time to be pensive and reflective right before, spring. So once we shift into Aries season, I feel like it's going to be a completely different story. But now's the time to raise your vibration and don't panic. I know many of you are also highly sensitive people and maybe intuitives and light workers yourselves. Stay grounded, practice grounding, practice maybe earthing. If it's not busy, especially if you go in the morning, go to a park and go for a walk, especially if it's in isolation, or go out and sit in your backyard or lean up against a tree. And don't forget to open up the doors and windows, let in some fresh air into your home if you're staying at home during this time. For those of you who are light workers, you may notice that it's really easy to shift into that sort of panic mentality and into that sort of worried state of lack. Focus less on lack and focus more on how you can be abundant and what you do have in abundance, such as your health, especially if you haven't caught this virus, and your family and your prosperity and the food that you do have in your cupboard. This is a time to think about the abundance of friends and community that's willing to help you. And for a lot of us, we're not used to asking for help, but this is a great time to start. And this is a time to focus on raising your vibration, especially as a light worker. So instead of dipping into that panic, first stay in a state of awareness of that. And when you notice that there's something, you become afraid of the situation, first take a deep breath and recognize, I know that fear is trying to quell up. It's because I'm picking up on the vibe around my community, around myself, and start to raise your vibration. As a matter of fact, I'd like for us to go into a little bit of a meditation for those of us who are worried or concerned about this situation. I want you to just take a moment, especially if you are sitting still or in a place of quiet where you're not driving or doing anything without distraction. I want you to just pull yourself into the present moment and just close your eyes and take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And I want you to think about all of the abundance that you do have in this moment, especially the abundance of community and family and people that you know that you're there for and that will be willing to give you a helping hand. I want you to take a deep breath in and say to yourself in your head or out loud, this too shall pass, and that this isn't something that's going to stay. This is something that is transitioning, and we're all here and we're all going to put ourselves in this sort of state of removal of ourselves from the physical aspect of our community, but not necessarily the digital aspect of our community. So this is a time to really just take that deep breath in and realize that you may have been picking up on the general concern and worries of others, and don't let that lower your vibration. So begin to just visualize that white light around yourself, especially your mind and your heart, And then I want you to spread that white light to your family and your community, and especially the people in your community that are the elderly and the people that are most susceptible to this. And I want you to visualize that white light around them and pink light around them, and just encircle them in that protective light, and then expand it out to your neighborhood, into your city. And then I want you to keep spreading that light out to your nation and globally. And when you do that, you're helping raise everybody's vibration. It's even been proven that, when large groups of people who are meditating, such as monks, for example, in DC, there was a test that was run that while they were meditating and while they were being present, the crime rate went down. So this is a great time to focus on what you're in abundance of, that this is only a challenge that's been presented to us so that we can learn to even raise our vibration up even more and not let fear take control. Because when you're run by fear, then you're run by lower vibrations, and that actually leaves us more vulnerable. So when we raise ourselves up and start to think about the positive and start to think about what we do have, what we focus on, we expand on. So let's not fall into darkness. Let's remind ourselves that we are light workers and that we're here to spread that light. And that sometimes that can be challenging, especially when we are tempted by scarcity or darkness around us. And when you pull yourself out of that, and instead of thinking that you are part of that herd, when you think that you are part of that light, that's when you're able to shift that darkness to light. So this is simply a time where we are meant to slow down and reflect on these last few days of winter and focus on how we can spread peace and help each other and help our community out by being there for them, at least in a digital sense, and to really be more mindful about how we move in our community and what we do. As a matter of fact, I am going to be removing in-person readings as an option on my website until this boils over. You are welcome to schedule a phone or web reading, and I will still be at Forever and a Day, but that will be the only in-person readings that I allow until this all sort of settles down. So I think that if we all kind of take that extra step and make an effort to socially distance ourselves and be in a time of pensiveness, of inflection, and of letting go of whatever we've had to move on from, especially this past winter and 2019, that this will pass, and this will pass quite quickly. And when we are more mindful, then we are not susceptible to lowering our vibration or lowering our immune system. And if you take just one simple step of trying to show up for your community, or heck, even asking for help, then watch how the community shows up for you, and watch how you help people, and that you play a part in helping this move on and pass quickly. So I hope that that has helped, and whenever you are in doubt, or whenever you feel yourself becoming more susceptible to that fear that tries to rise up, just breathe and say to yourself, this too shall pass. So I hope that that's helped you all, and please don't forget to like and subscribe if you like my videos. And if you like my content, please feel free to like and subscribe to my newsletter, and links for all the aforementioned things are below. And take care, stay safe, and be pensive. This is a time to be a hermit. So love you guys. I'll talk to you later.